Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Hapanwo TV on VidMe. Now, this is an update video. First of all, I've got to apologise for not being active on VidMe for a while, about a week now or more. So I've got to apologise to people who left me comments and to Tanya Mills, who actually sung a song for me as well. So I've only just seen it. The reason is my book, Roswell Revealed. It's been just so... I've been so tied up doing that and dealing with that, the launch of my book, that I haven't been able to do anything else really very much. I'll also be preparing for the WakeCon and all kinds of things like that. So, but I'm back. Yes, I'm back, and I've had some feedback from the last video. Well, not the last video, the one I did about what's it? Why can't women date? Why do women never date nice guys? Okay, I've had some feedback from that. So first of all, I had somebody wrote me a letter, a woman. I'll call her Liz. I don't want to give her real name. And she said, I think that women will go for either an alpha or a beta male if their income and lifestyle permits, i.e. 75,000 plus per year. The real reason why that kid can't get girls is the increased level of brainwashing in women. They now only go for corporate whore slave men in Mercedes. Remember, the mind controllers worked out that they couldn't mind control men as easy as they didn't try new things as much. Women, however, do. Plus, the controllers said if you threaten the kids, the women will do anything. You should send him Mark Passio's latest talk on the unholy feminine. Right. Well, that's interesting. Now, several issues there. Firstly, if a beta male actually earns more than £75,000 per year, does he sort of automatically become an alpha male? I'm not sure. But it's quite amusing to meet a woman who's a more radical anti-feminist than I am. I'm not sure I agree that women are easier to mind control than men. I think men and women can both be mind controlled, very often using different methods, but women and men are both equally vulnerable, I would say, to elite mind control. As I said in my video about cultural Marxism, everyone's been taught to hate. If you're a white straight male, you're taught to hate yourself. If you're not, you're taught to hate the other. So if you're not a white straight male, you're taught to hate WHM people. But if you are a WHM person like me, you're taught to hate yourself. To be honest, I don't know which is worse. I think they're both equally bad. I intensely think both situations must be incredibly miserable. So I don't really see one as worse than the other. Mark Passio, I've got a lot of respect for. I like what he does, and he talks a hell of a lot of sense. And what he says about the unholy feminine is very true. Whether this particular gentleman, Eric, I talked about last week, my confidant, the young guy who reached out to me asking for advice. And as I said, I didn't really feel comfortable with that, but I didn't know what to do. But I did reply to him. I don't know if he's the sort of guy who'd really be into Mark Passio, would get much out of Mark Passio. But it is good that more and more people are seeing through this. I mean, I find that women actually are turning away from feminism very quickly indeed. A lot of them are seeing through it. In fact, in some countries, the number of women who self-identify as feminists is now in single figures in terms of percentage. Whereas if you go to the 1960s and 70s, it was like 30% or more. And I think women, if anything, they can sniff out feminism a lot better and before men can. And this is because they understand how a woman thinks because they are women, and they also see a side of it that men are not allowed to see. They can understand feminism better because perhaps they hear what feminists say when they're amongst themselves. And I've seen recordings of it. It chills the blood. I've seen secret filmings, or sometimes not so secret, of feminist meetings, and it is some of the most disturbing things I've ever seen, or ever heard. Yeah, they can understand. They can see through the false promises. They can see through the warped worldview. It's incitements to acts of brutality. It's borderline psychopathic nature. It's glorification of injustice. I mean, you go to the. In fact, these days, I think all the most prominent men's rights activists are women. Alison Tiemann, Dr. Tara Palmatier, Janet Bloomfield, Suzanne Venker, etc. I mean, there's Cassie J, who made the Red Pill movie. In fact, I've never been to a men's rights group meeting, but if I did, I'd probably feel like I was invading a female space. And because of the dominance of feminism in society, I think this is why you get characters like Eric. Society does not realise that a young man is a very fragile thing. And society treats little guys like Eric like rubber balls. You just throw them against the wall as often as you like, again and again and again. They won't break. They're men, they're patriarchs, they've got privilege. And it's not true, and I hope Eric doesn't get thrown anywhere. Now, I've also had a comment from someone who said, he said, well, I won't read out this verbatim, because it's a bit stupid, but he says, oh, I'm not an alpha male, if only I could become one. And he goes on to say, methods by which you can become an alpha male. Well, I wouldn't. I've explained in the previous video to this how I myself got caught into that trap and it almost ruined me. It was a very, very big mistake that I made. I think you've got to stick with who you are. Be who you are. You don't need to, as I said in the last video, doesn't mean you're untouchable. You just have to, you're better off waiting for somebody. You may have to wait longer, but wait for someone who will accept you as you are, rather than putting on an act. It really is not worth it. It's a devil's bargain. Don't do it. And being also, I mean, I think we've got to realise something about alpha males. As I said in the previous film, being an alpha male is not a character flaw. It's not a failing. It's not something that needs to be drummed out of these guys. It's just who they are. Alpha males can be great men. They can be good friends. They can be great leaders, great warriors, great adventurers, great entrepreneurs. I mean, to have a good alpha male as your friend is a great gift if you're a beta male. And by saying good, I mean someone who has not lost, who has basically beaten the challenges that alpha males have to face, because they have their challenges too. And as I said, not becoming an arsehole is one of them. If they can succeed in that, then they're good guys. And it's not a bed of roses being an alpha male. You might think so. If you simply judge happiness, or a man's happiness, or a man's success on how many women he can bed, well, yeah, it seems like a paradise, doesn't it? Because the alpha male is there, and in front of him are these acres and acres of ladies just lying there waiting for him. But then I have had alpha males crying on my shoulder when no one else is, when I'm the only one there, and they know they can open up to me. They'll do so. And I know for a fact that a lot of them, they even though they can have as much casual sex as they want, they long for a woman in their life who can see past their chiseled jawlines and the glint of the chrome on the bumpers of the Bentley, and their Armani suits, and their gold Rolex on their wrists and things like that. They want a woman who can see past that and feel some affection for the man inside. In other words, they lack intimacy. And the quest for intimacy is something that most people, I don't think, can anyone really not look for intimacy? And how rare it is, and how precious, and how it's a hard thing to find, whether you're whatever kind of man you are. Because you shag as many birds as you like, you won't get intimacy from them. You get sexual pleasure. It's not the same thing. And I know some alpha males feel that perhaps the abundance of casual sex for them is actually a detriment in their quest for intimacy. It makes it more difficult for them to find intimacy. And perhaps that's where the beta male is at an advantage. Which one would you prefer? Think it over. Yeah, and it's a sad thing that intimacy is one thing. Is one of the things that the Illuminati are trying to drum out of us in society. They're trying to program it out of us. Those who seek it are being left isolated like islands because we're not taught to look for it. Not among our platonic friends, friends of the same sex as us, or with lovers. We're taught to regard sexual relationships as just another consumer product, really. I want to thank Eric for writing me this letter now. I've changed my position, really. I'm glad he did it because it's given me a lot to think about, it's given me a lot to talk about, and I've been able to share it with you guys, Panmo TV viewers, so much appreciated. And well, that doesn't mean, like I said, I want this to become a regular thing, okay? I don't want everyone writing to me with their grievances of life, because I'm not a trained counsellor. I can't be an agony aunt, I'm sorry. This has to be a one-off. Okay, but I hope you enjoyed this one-off. And thank you for watching Panmo TV on VidMe. Hospital Port as pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.